Well, it is time for a fireside chat. I ran out of wood at camp, so get some wood. Might cook some sausages, but keep it simple. Just hung up. Hopefully. Come on. Oh, there she goes. I ain't Paul Bunyan, but sometimes I feel like it.
Paul Bunyan, he's 63.
Okay, well that's enough for now. It's just for the fireside chat. I'll come back. Get the rest of this tomorrow probably. We'll just load this up and have our fireside chat. See, the mosquitoes have come out already. It's only April, but first warm day and they're out. Crocuses are out. It's nice to see the onions and crocuses and things like that coming out. Doesn't take much. My pine is nice and dry. This is lodgepole pine. And it burns pretty good. I like to use it for fires actually. It just burns very quickly, as you can see. Man, I'm pretty worried about this summer. They're talking about another drought and a pile of forest fires again. And I tell you, last year was a record in BC for forest fires, and they say this year is going to be worse. It's pretty scary. I am hoping that the predictions of a drought and all these fires is wrong, because it was so bad last year. The smoke was so thick that you couldn't see like 100 yards sometimes when we had the fire just up the river here. And I just don't want to see that again. I'd rather have a rainy summer than have all these fires. There's another story involving my buddy Warren, and basically we had planned on going bear hunting into an area that was called the Soda Walls near Fernie, BC. And the idea was we were going to go bear hunting. Unbelievable. Here's the smoke again. Hey, that's going to be one of the main themes of the fireside chat, is the smoke, I guess. But anyway, we had this planned out. So the one weekend we went, we built this camp, we built a fire pit, we cut a bunch of wood. The next weekend we were supposed to go and do this bear hunt. Now, I don't really like bear hunting, and I didn't want him really to get a grizzly. I just find grizzlies are just too majestic to want to shoot. Basically, I was kind of against that. I wanted to kind of tag along, yeah, to give him some help if he got a black bear. Even though I've had close calls and encounters, I still appreciate their majesty. So anyway, that was the plan. The following weekend, I'm heading up there to the camp. And I had my old 79 Bronco. I've had a few of them. And I'm driving up into the area, and I'm getting fairly close because it was quite a drive from where I was. And I get within maybe about 15 kilometers, which would be 7 miles. I hit a pothole and my truck just died. That was it. It wouldn't start, it wouldn't turn over, nothing. It just died. Now, I spent about an hour trying to figure out, well, why will this thing not start? It wouldn't crank over, it wouldn't do nothing. Okay, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to wait here. I figured, well, I've got enough time to hike in to where we built the camp and just go from there. He can give me a ride back. I started hiking, but here's the thing, and I've learned my lessons the hard way for the most part throughout my career in the bush. I didn't go prepared. I didn't bring my rifle. It's too heavy. I didn't bring my coat. Well, it was warm out. All I brought was a lighter. That was it. You know, I had fishing gear, but I wasn't going to pack all this stuff. Well, let's just go get my buddy. We'll come back to my truck and get my stuff. So off I went, thinking I had enough daylight to get to the spot. We didn't take a road. We kind of made our own little trail through the bush and over this creek and up on this plateau little thing. So nobody would have found the spot. It was kind of our private little hunting camp. So off I go. I'm hiking and I'm hiking, and I'm thinking, man, I don't know if I'm going to get there before dark, because you think of 7 miles, it takes a little while, and by the time I get near the location, I'm thinking, man, I've still got probably almost an hour, and it seems to me it's going to be dark in about half an hour. Well, I was pretty much right. So I get to the spot where we built the camp. I see the fire pit. I don't see a fire going, and I'm wondering why. But by now, it's dark enough that I've got to flick my lighter to see the trail. And I'm thinking, well, why don't I see the fire going? You know, we had all this firewood, and he had his trailer that he pulled in there with his Toyota 4Runner. I get to the fire pit, he's not even there. He packed up and decided to move the camp to another location. I'm thinking, well, this is just great. He took all the firewood. And lo and behold, if it doesn't start to rain, okay, and I got no coat, I got no tarp, I got no blankets, I got nothing now. And I'm thinking, wow, I can't really get out of here in the dark. Now, you see, it would have been good to at least have a flashlight. I could have probably got back to the truck. I didn't bother to do that. Okay, well, only one thing to do. We got to get a fire going. It's starting to rain. I got to stay warm for the night. So I'm flicking the lighter in the bushes, and I'm collecting a bunch of firewood with my lighter. Piled it all up by the fire pit, and I got my fire going. You know, the things you wish you would have brought in that situation. I mean, I couldn't have hiked out of there, I don't think. I mean, if I had a flashlight, yeah. But anyway, I made do. I made do. But yeah, this was the worst night. I get it built up. I actually did collect enough wood to last the night, like bigger stuff that I drug out of the bush, and kept that fire going all night. But now the fire, it gets big enough and it gets light enough that all of a sudden, like around the fire pit, I see these grizzly tracks, and they're not little, I'm telling you. We got a big bear in the area, like a big grizzly. And if he was after a grizzly, he should have just stayed there. Well, now I'm kind of worried because I didn't bring a rifle. I didn't bring anything except a lighter. That was it. And I'm thinking, oh man, this is just great. What am I going to do except cuddle by the fire? And that's what I did. So, I mean, the rocks eventually, they were about the size of big footballs, and they eventually heated up enough. I had to snuggle against the rocks, get myself warmed and dried and turned and tossed. But you don't get sleep in these situations. And the thing is, it's just better not to get in these situations, let's face it. How was I to know that he wouldn't be there? Like, the whole plan was to be there. Sometimes things happen in the bush that you just can't expect, can't plan on. In hindsight, I sure wish I would have bought the rifle. Now I see these big grizzly tracks. And they're all through the camp, and they're fresh too. Like, and I don't know, maybe that's why he moved. I didn't even ask him that. I should have. So now I'm cuddled against the rocks. I keep the fire going all night. I'm hearing all this crashing in the bush. Now I know the sounds in the bush at nighttime. And I know this is a big animal. This is not a deer. This is not a coyote. So what's the first thing that's going through my mind? That grizzly showed up. And this is like the middle of the night. And I'm thinking, oh my. Well, now what? Okay. Let's just hope he doesn't come into camp, okay? Now, it could have been a moose. I never did see the animal, but it was right there. I could hear it, but it was one or the other probably, because you can tell. Like, a deer is way more quiet. Big bears like that, they just crash through the bush. They just break the branches and trees right out of their way. So I knew it was a big animal. So next morning, I wake up and my arm, like I say, is just so sore. And I'm thinking, what the heck? And I look at my arm, and it was just bulged out and burnt from leaning on the rocks. And I didn't even wake up. Like, I guess I wasn't touching them, but I was slow cooking my arm beside these rocks. And that's that scar that you see. See that scar? That's from snuggling up too close to the rocks, and I just burnt my whole arm, slow cooked it. So finally, relief comes. It gets light. Next morning, light comes. It's not raining. Okay, well, I got to hike out of here and get back to the truck at least where I got my gear. So I hike back, and then I get about maybe 300 or 400 yards from my truck, and I see these tracks kind of going off the road over this little hill into the bush, and like just pushed the grass down like it wasn't a road or anything. I look at these tracks and I'm thinking, you know what? That's my buddy Warren's tracks. I follow the trail and I go in there about 500 yards, and sure enough, there he is. He broke down or set up camp right near where I broke down. Like within 300 yards, there he set up another camp, and I walked right by it to the first camp we had set up, and there he was, all along, right near my truck. Can you imagine? But it was a great relief. I made it through the night, but it was a miserable, scary night. Could have been that bear, I don't know. But all I'm saying is it's pretty scary. From that time on, I never even took any kind of a hike very far from the truck without my rifle. But yeah, what a night that was. I'm telling you, I've learned the hard way, like I say. Boy, even if you think you know, okay, it's all going to work out, at least bring a couple things. It would have been nice to have my coat. Would have been nice to have a flashlight and my rifle. I would have felt way better. But that was a scary, difficult night, mentally, physically. Burnt myself up, but I survived. Hung out at his place. We had coffee in the trailer there. And then we went back to my truck. And I actually figured out the problem with the truck. What it was in these old Broncos, these 79s, they've got a starter relay on the quarter panel under the hood. And one of the wires, it's got 3 wires, had broken off. But you couldn't really tell because they were still in the plastic. And I just started pulling on those, and well, why won't we get the starter to turn on? Pull on one of those wires and it pulled right off. It broke that wire, and that was the problem. Hooked it up, bang, truck started, great. And then we did actually end up finishing the bear hunt that weekend, but we never did get a bear. I was kind of glad because I'm not a bear hunter, but that's quite the story. I'll never forget that night. That was spooky. Spooky, kids. But anyways, I'm going to cook something up here, and next time I'm going to tell a couple of stories of my time in Patagonia on the Alone Show, and pretty interesting stories as well of a couple of things I went through there that are very unusual as well. And sometimes it makes me think that there's somebody on your side in situations, and you'll see what I mean on the next Fireside Chat. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you subscribers, all you viewers. Without you, I wouldn't be out here having fun. And I'm just going to cook a couple sausages up. And I hope you appreciate the stories. There's lots more. I got lots more stories. But that was a terrible, terrible night for me. So I hope none of you get in that situation. Okay, we'll see you on the next Fireside Chat. I hope you enjoyed it. Right on. It's got some mild Italian sausage. That's good enough. Sometimes I just don't feel like cooking as far as like a big dinner. Sometimes, I mean, I'm going to do a couple of really good dinners soon. Like, I want to do a complete turkey dinner on the fire. Sometimes simple's good. Almost bedtime for me anyway. This camera is great. Like for low lighting like this, it's actually darker than you think. It's going to be dark soon, so we'll cook these up. Yeah, I was thinking, you know, what would I have done if that big grizzly did come into camp? I'll often think about that one, you know. Like nobody can take on a grizzly bear with your bare hands. Oh, except maybe Samson in the Bible. He used to take on lions and tear them in half and stuff, but other than that,